Hey guys, Technomentary here with a video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to review iOS 15, the latest version on the iPhone XR here. Talk about some of the top features of iOS 15 on the iPhone XR, and then also talk about the battery life, the performance, and finally answer the big question whether you should upgrade your iPhone XR to the iOS 15 version right now that's out. So in this video, we're going to cover all that and much more. So let's go ahead and dive into the iPhone XR. A little history on the iPhone XR if you didn't know, not to get confused with the iPhone 10 or the 10s or the 10s Max. The iPhone XR was sort of the cheaper model that Apple introduced because it had that LCD display, but by other means it wasn't as cheap as, by a couple $100s. It still had a lot of the features. Now the iPhone XR was released a month later after the flagship iPhone XS was introduced in 2018. So this phone was kind of a surprising move that Apple introduced, and it does have a 6.1 inch display compared to that 5.8 inch display that we receive on the iPhone XS now. Compared to the XS Max, of course, it's a little bit smaller, but this one kind of sort of stood out a lot, and this phone still is very popular device that you can get, although it lacks some of the top features that you get on a premium model. The iPhone XR does still get the job done in 2022. Now it's been out for a little over 3.5 years or so, and it's going to be probably hitting the 4th year later this year. Now if you haven't updated, the update is pretty straightforward to do. If you're thinking of updating, simply go into settings, go to general, and then software update. And you notice here, you can see the update that's available. At the time of recording, we are doing a long-term review. So we're on the latest version of 15.3.1. So that's the latest iOS version you can get right now at the moment that you're seeing the video. Of course, there's going to be more updates, minor updates coming out. Now, the update process takes around half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on what version you're jumping from. If you're jumping from iOS 14 to 15, that's usually the case. Now, depending on your Wi-Fi, it could be shorter, it could be longer, but do expect the update was pretty smooth forward. You can also update it if you can't get it through the Wi-Fi for some reason. You can do it through iTunes. Now, let's dive into some of the top features of iOS 15. So the first feature we want to mention is going to be that focus mode. So focus modes will introduce to allow you to simply filter out notification and signal your friends whenever you're not available, so you can hide the distraction while you're doing something. For example, if you're doing work, maybe you want to be only getting notifications that are related to work from your apps and contacts. And if you're going to sleep, of course, you probably don't want a lot of disturbance because you want to be able to sleep and only have emergency contact be able to reach out. Now, in the past, this was just do not disturb. So this focus mode was sort of a game changer, especially since we use our phones so much and rely on it so much. Sometimes we simply get distracted and our productivity goes down. Not to say that we're not productive people, but that's sort of where Apple is sort of heading with that neat feature. Now, the next feature you probably want to think about or take a look at, it's going to be around FaceTime. So FaceTime, as you know, has been around for some time now. In the past, it used to only be for Apple users. So if you have an Apple device, you were only able to FaceTime someone else. But Apple has changed that now. You can actually FaceTime call or video call anyone with the Android or Windows device that can join using the internet or get on a browser by clicking on a link. So you can send them a link and they can join you. Now that's really just impressive that Apple has opened that gate where it used to be just closed to Apple users. Now that's a big step up. And along with that are some other updates around spatial audio and the actual video camera when you're actually chatting with someone, which makes it look more natural. You also see other updates such as being able to do picture-in-picture mode across more application, which again wasn't available, but it is now available for you to do. Now there's other updates such as redefining how the notification center looked like. So if you in the past you probably noticed notification were cluttered, now there's summary of notification that's regrouped. There's also updates to a bunch of applications, like for example Safari here. If you haven't went to Safari here, you'll notice here now the browser URL is on the bottom now. Along with that are updates to these tab groups. So you can now group your tabs. If you're especially a person that have a bunch of tabs open, but you don't want to close all the apps, you can actually group them to different groups of tab and rename them and such things to be more productive. Now, there's also other updates like the weather application. So in the past, the weather application was okay, but now with the updates, you can have the weather application notify you if it's snowing or raining, when it stops and starts, just so you can plan ahead throughout your day. You'll also notice updates to things like the heat map. You'll notice things around all these other features that are in widget now, just a more cleaner look to the map application, to the weather application. Mentioning map, there's also updates to the map application as well. So in the past, map application was sort of boring. Well, to a degree, it didn't do as much as you would like to. Now, you'll notice here on the update here, you have these interactive globe updates. There's updates to around the walking direction. So if you're in major city, you'll notice a big improvement around how directions are giving, especially if you're walking, and other things like the guides and such more if you travel a lot, which again, a unique feature you might want to explore. Now, there's also other updates to things like the wallet application. In the past, you were able to just add credit card, debit card, and a couple passes. Now you could add your identification cards as well. Some state allow you to add your driver license to the wallet application, so you don't have to carry a physical card. Now, there's also been updates to the health application. Again, what Apple has done is allow you to track your trend of different health activities, such as your heart rate, your respiratory, your body measurements and activities, to detect abnormal issues, which it can notify you and let you know to go visit a doctor. Of course, it's not a replacement for doing your doctor's visit, but it's something you might want to take advantage of if you haven't done that. Now, you also notice other updates around things like translation. So Apple has improved their translation, and they actually introduced a new application where you can actually do system-wide translation across a lot of more applications. You also have the ability to select a bunch more languages, which Apple has expanded to other languages, and there's going to be more languages that are going to be available for you to do translation. Again, this is a really helpful feature because you can pretty much speak something in English and have it speak it out in another language. Again, if you travel a lot, a feature that you will probably be taking advantage of. Now, let's talk about the next thing around. It's going to be the battery life. So what kind of battery life or performance have we seen on it? So the battery life on the iPhone XR, again, it's a big size battery. So the iPhone XR does have almost a 3000 mAh battery, which gives you around 16 hours of video playback, compared to the iPhone 13 Pro, which gives you around 22 hours of video playback. So this is a decent sized phone with a decent battery. So you do get your money's worth of the lifetime of the battery life that you're supposed to. You notice here the battery drain is here when you charge it, it just goes normal. It does. We haven't seen any sort of issues where it drains the battery or have any issues with the battery. So battery is fine. So if you're concerned about the battery draining or something on the iPhone XR on the latest version, that's not an issue. Even with battery health, you'll notice here this phone, of course, we used it for almost a year or so, limited usage, but you'll notice here the battery max capacity health is at 98%, which is pretty good. And we did a video on how to keep your battery health closer to 100% or from dropping, which if you guys want to check it out, we'll leave a link in the description section or the comment section. And now let's talk about the performance of the iPhone XR on the iPhone XR with iOS 15. So iOS 15, you'll notice here, we've opened a bunch of apps and there's really no issues opening up as many apps as you want. And that's because it does have that A12 Bionic chip with 3 gigs of RAM. So when it comes to opening up a bunch of apps and doing your normal day-to-day tasks, you might wait a second or two, but it's not going to be a big wait for you. We have a bunch of apps opening. So all of your social media apps, all of your shopping application, productivity tool, your video streaming services, YouTube, all of that works phenomenal on the iPhone XR here. So in terms of performance-wise, performance has been optimal as it should be upgrading to iOS 15. We haven't seen any sort of lag or app crashes across the board, and we're able to use the phone just fine on iOS 15. So if you haven't upgraded to iOS 15, which leads us to our next point, should you upgrade to iOS 15? We think it's definitely worth upgrading to it, because later this year, iOS 16 will come out. Again, if you're on iOS 14 or low, or it's going to be open up to vulnerabilities and software issues which you don't want. So if you haven't upgraded, we recommend upgrading it, but it's going to be individual preference. Some of the features that we mentioned here hopefully help you guys make that decision. And if you guys haven't, leave a comment in the comment section in terms of your experience. If you have upgraded to iOS 15 or anything that you want to mention, leave a comment in the comment section. And if this video is helpful, please make sure that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.